Alright. Well, I guess I'll be casting for an audience of one today, which is honestly shockingly low. Oh, we're waiting for DK then.
Hello, it's me. I'm here.
Oh, hello DK. You got here a lot faster than I expected you to.
Yeah. I literally just got home from picking up some food. I'm gonna
Nice.
be half commentating, half eating.
Yeah, that's fine. I can do, if you're eating, then I can commentate the.
Do play-by-play.
Yeah, I can do play-by-play. That's fine. I'll
Okay.
let you eat your food. Let me start streaming.
Yep. I can. If you're recording, I can stream.
I should be able to do both.
Okay.
Login.
Laser donkeys! Laser donkeys!
Ready.
Laser
Go.
donkeys!
Ready. Set.
Well, we're gonna get off to the
Go.
funny start, which is I forgot to change the settings. Well, I say that, but in my defense, I was handed host and assumed everything was fine. ShadowVision's gonna be behind the first spawn. John already up 4. I will note this is on ShadowVision's ping advantage. We did practice this map coming into and he did look okay on it. He's definitely not having the best mechanical days. We have a nuke and another one.
Nope.
John not going to be shy to let those rip. I can tell you that right now. He probably knows that he's going to have to play a little unorthodox to get some results against ShadowVisions, who, by the way, I don't believe he has dropped a single set yet in any of his matches. So.
Yeah, I know ShadowVision's been feeling a bit down on his form recently, but I know he
Yeah.
always is able to turn it on for the actual matches. He was
Yeah.
feeling the same way before his Frostfire match, and then
Yeah, we saw how that
something
turned
hit.
out.
So
And now he accidentally unleashed the monster as well there, because now Frostfire has not lost a single match since then, or a single set in a match since then. But either way, the game is neck and neck at the moment. We got a score of 35-33 with 3 minutes left to play here. John popping out a Mega Marble as he normally does, and it's going to win him most of this spawn. He's going to retake the lead. Another great blast by John. Really pushing ShadowVisions around. I don't know. You might know better than I do. Is this a map that ShadowVisions is? I mean, I assume he's proficient on it. He's good at most maps. But is this a map he likes to play, or is this like one of those maps where he's like, I don't like playing it?
I think he's not the biggest fan of it. We've played it a few times, and I've definitely gone even or even beaten him a few times now. So he hasn't looked his best on this map, but it's definitely one that he's not bad at by any means.
Yeah, John with a little whiff there, going for that expired red. And it's going to be a 3-point ShadowVisions lead. John has grabbed the only blue here as well, which is interesting to note.
Last more impactful from ShadowVision secures a couple of those reds.
Yep.
And
John going with an interesting default there, kind of actually using the bouncy floor to get some height up and then just super speeding the direction he needs to go, which is interesting. I don't think
Pretty
I've
good
ever seen anyone
spawn
do
for
that.
John. ShadowVisions misses the yellows and then gets megaed by John, and that's gonna just about tie up this game now.
Yeah, Jean hanging in tight here. I think going into this was a match, John with a big mechanical error there, I think.
I think he hit the bouncy floor and then used
Yeah,
the
and then used
blast
the
while
blast
in
at
the
the same time.
gyrocopter.
And a great blast by ShadowVisions there as well. I think going into this match, this would be one of the ones that people would expect some more lopsided scores, just because it is a ShadowVisions match. That's what he does. But John hanging in very tight. Admittedly, it is on his pick, but on Ashburn Ping, we've seen
Pretty
him
good spawn
struggle a
for
bit.
ShadowVisions. Good
He's gonna miss the
blast.
yellow.
Great blast from John. Throws him off.
8-point lead here. Little blue, and ShadowVision should get that, and he does.
Barely avoids hitting the trim. That's extremely close.
Yeah.
It's got good spawn for him here too.
And this lead's
Well, if
suddenly up
it's-
to nearly 20.
Yeah, he's really starting to pull this away. If there's just more of these all red spawns, then there's not really much John will be able to do. But as I say that, there's a blue, and ShadowVisions can be quick to that one.
Yep, and another big blast by ShadowVisions that sent John back, and this game looking all but over now. He was very close up until, like I said, about a couple minutes ago. Or I guess probably about a minute ago now, and then it's not going to do much, but he has crawled up to nearly 30 points by the end of it, which is a lot bigger than I would have expected.
Very well done from ShadowVisions to just run away with that game after being so close for a lot of it.
Yep.
Okay, what server? What's John's server?
I suspect we're going to be going to Divergent. Yes.
Now going into game 2, I know that this is Galactic Islands is the pick for ShadowVisions. This is one that he had been considering for John. He had been practicing for sure. There are a couple other picks that he was considering, but this is definitely one of them. And
Yep. This was the last map that I practiced with him on the warm-ups, and he did end up winning by like 5 or 6 points, which was also the alright. Never mind, we're gonna switch back to I guess we're switching to Nuremberg.
Okay.
Either way. So this was a map that he did practice against me. He won by 5 or 6 points on it. And this was also a map that I picked against John in my series with him, and that series went to 5. But that was one of the games I ended up losing because I lost all my picks, and I lost both my picks in that series. So this is a map that
that's right.
maybe people think Jean isn't going to be as strong on this one. This is a map that requires a lot of technical ability and
lots of technical ability.
not necessarily a lot of melee, which is what Jean excels at here.
Yeah, there's a ton of spawn prep. You have to be really prepared for any spawns coming, because if you don't have the correct power up, getting to the next spawn can slowly can lose you the entire spawn.
Yeah. Can I get you to pass real quick? I got a phone call.
Ready. Set. Ready. Set. Go.
Right, now we got comp mode on. ShadowVisions with the super jump gets a little bit better of a line, gets the yellow and the red there. John evens out the spawn. ShadowVisions going for the blast and the gyrocopter. Super speeds, manages to stick the landing. And once again, another tied spawn. John with the Mega Marble tries to hit ShadowVisions in midair with the gyrocopter, but doesn't quite hit him.
Yeah,
Good attempt.
It's a good attempt. I don't know if it's the right time of the game. This is not the map to be doing that on. John playing really weird there. I'm not sure.
Defaulting up at the top.
Actually, that
ShadowVisions
kind of
double-
worked out for him, but
Mhm.
we are gonna have a blue, and ShadowVision's is gonna
Very
get it
nice.
all to himself.
Very
And
nice.
gets a good respawn on it. Ends up getting frozen, but John doesn't have a power up to take advantage with, and gets his super jump stolen, which is unfortunate. And this
It's gonna be
lead
this
opened
whole
up to
spawn going to ShadowVisions, and John wants to get caught without power up, but there is a super speed right there, and they both are off to the races to this spawn.
Yep.
Share the yellows.
This is a map that really does reward power up prep, and so far we've seen ShadowVisions be more proficient at that, but John's navigation during the spawns has been a little bit better, and it has, I think, helped him keep this game closer despite that.
Yeah, the pre-pop gyro for that last spawn really, and then the close spawn really kind of screwed ShadowVisions a little bit.
Yep. Great super speed there by John to grab the yellow and the red up there, but he is going to lose out on most of the rest of it. Guess we'll see him go for this wall hit here. Wisely leaves behind the last red because he's not in great position. We'll see where the next spawn is. It's not on the same island, but it is closer to John regardless, and they get there about the same time.
ShadowVisions takes the super speed, but another close spawn.
Yeah.
It's gonna get up to the yellow quicker. ShadowVisions holding the mega. He's going for a respawn instead of going for the super jump, and that's gonna work out pretty well for him. But John gets quite a bit of the spawn first as well with a nice.
Yeah. John doing very well again, navigating these spawns when he's actually at them. I think he's a little bit slower than ShadowVisions at times, and I think his prep isn't as good, but he's also been very quick.
ShadowVisions hits the ice shard, but John picks up the expired red, which gives ShadowVisions some very much needed time to
Yeah, I gave him that extra second.
get to the next spawn. Very close game, about halfway through here now. John whiffs on the mega, and a little bit late to pick up the next super jump to get to the spawn, and ShadowVisions will pick up both yellows.
Yeah, this lead is holding steady between 5 and 10, but we might see that start to change now that John is in I think, a slightly better position. Or sorry, ShadowVision's in slightly better position. Wouldn't be shocked to see him go for the swipe there, but he doesn't go for it. They end up splitting that entire line there.
John going for some of these reds up at the top.
Oh,
He has
and
a
it
super
pays
jump.
off.
That's gonna be a nice spawn for John here. ShadowVisions with the gyrocopter is gonna be a little bit late, and that cuts this to 3 points. 2 points.
John with a little bit of a technical mistake there, and he does fall. We'll see ShadowVision's able to get up to it. He's going to be able to get both of those gems, but John able to get that last that second yellow all to himself. Pops the gyro.
Crucially,
Yeah.
John also got the ultra blast there. I don't think ShadowVision got it. Looks like he did actually. He used it there.
Ooh, we got a
our
blue.
next
This
blue.
could be huge. John gonna be low on it. ShadowVision's already up, and he's gonna get it all to himself, and should be able to drop down here to get those.
Yes. It's now a 4-point lead for ShadowVisions. Both of them trying to race to get to this gyrocopter. John picks up the
actually
mega.
picks
John...
up- yeah, actually, that's great. That was great by him. He picked up the mega and used it to boost himself up.
Yeah, that's very
nicely
well.
done.
Ooh, pre-pop gyro for ShadowVisions is going to make this spawn a little bit more awkward. John ties it up. Got a really close game with the next spawn. ShadowVisions with the gyrocopter is going to make it up to this yellow. John lands on top of the other one.
But
ShadowVisions picks up a couple of those. He's going to leave the last red.
we
2
do have a
points,
blue
just a
here.
blue.
This could be huge.
John trying to get to it. He picks up the yellow. He ties up the game. And ShadowVisions misses. And ShadowVisions loses at the last second. John with the great line with the super speed to pick up the yellow and the red to win it. Incredible.
That is the second time that John has won an insanely close game on Galactic Islands. And he is talking about some mental fortitude. That is ShadowVision's first loss in a set. Yeah. Okay, buddy, that's why you quit out of our series in Game 5. So, ShadowVisions drops his first game or first map of the entire season.
And quite unexpectedly to John, maybe, who most people would probably think that ShadowVisions is in a tier or maybe even 2 tiers above. But yeah, incredibly well played from John there.
So we're gonna see what John wants to pick here. ShadowVisions did prep for a Vortex effect pick here. Would not be shocked to see that come out. It is one of John's better maps.
ShadowVisions is definitely no slouch on that one either, though.
No, he's
And
not.
there's
He did, like I said, he did practice that in the lead up against Misty, and please turn on comp mode this time. No.
And yeah, the Vortex effect is going to come out here. Crucially, this is on ShadowVision's server, so that's going to have quite a big advantage for him there, especially on such like a blast heavy map and one that John loves to use the Megas on.
Yeah, and I mean with the map having such skinny platforms, that Mega Marble takes up the whole damn thing. So would not be shocked if, regardless what happens here, we're gonna probably see Scadium next out of ShadowVisions. And we are going to be underway here in Game 3, and this is the first time that a ShadowVision series has been tied after 2 games. Interestingly enough, big Mega already from John. It's going to cost ShadowVisions here, but he gets a bad. John gets bad respawn.
Yeah, John gets
bad
respawn and then falls off again.
It's gonna
John's going to be
big
really late to the spawn. Visions with no power up. John with the blast and the super speed is not going to land on the yellow, and so is going to miss out on a lot of this spawn as well.
A very interesting start to the game. ShadowVisions looking much more in control here. I think John really tried to set the tone early with that Mega Marble, but we do have a mistake here from ShadowVisions, and it's going to cost him at least a bit of his spawn.
And a great blast from John sends him all the way to the other side of the map. So John's going to win this entire spawn and tie this game up. That's a pretty good spawn for John as well.
Yep. John back in the lead here, I guess in the lead for the first time. Gonna get that Mega Marble, but lose out on the super speed. We'll see how much that plays in here. ShadowVisions with some great routing to avoid the Mega.
Threading the needle.
Yeah. Next spawn, John unable to make contact with the Mega Marble, but might be able to get that yellow. Doesn't, but able to turn on a dime with that Mega Marble and get a bit more of that spawn.
John falls off, does not get, he does get a respawn, but not a super favorable one, and ShadowVisions will be get the better of this spawn.
Yeah, the respawn abuse on that side in particular is not always favorable. Nice yellow grab there by John. You're gonna go for this expired over here, and ShadowVision's gonna wisely recognize that John might not be super prepped and take that last red.
Great respawn for ShadowVision as well. Snipes the yellow, grabs the super speed, and now is gonna grab this. He has the right to grab this last gem.
Yeah.
See if he can rebound back to the yellow. Extremely well done, but can't quite stay on. But still winning that one yellow is pretty good for him.
Yeah, from that position, that was a very nice play. Not always easy to land that kind of type of play. Respawns again.
Great blast from ShadowVisions. Stops the momentum of John with the Mega coming barreling straight at him.
Yep. John gonna blast ShadowVisions off to take the super speed as prep, and they're both going to sit on the blast. Next spawn, ShadowVisions slightly closer, but John with the better power up for it. But does get blasted off.
Yeah. ShadowVisions in the first couple minutes maybe didn't have the best power-up prep. He had the blast usually, but not really a power-up. But he's definitely turned it on here, and it's looking a lot better. And it now has a 20-point lead.
Yeah, this is about how his game with Misty went earlier today. Misty started out very well. ShadowVisions kind of lacked some of that power-up prep, and now after a little bit of it, ShadowVisions kind of was able to turn it back on and start getting more of those power-ups. But he's gonna lose that spawn, and John hits the edge there, able to still get over though. Lead back up to 20, but a good spawn here potentially for John if he's able to line this properly. He's going to actually leave the yellow.
And John uses the gyrocopter, grabs the Mega Marble as well. Maybe we're gonna look to try to hit ShadowVisions here. ShadowVisions avoided it with the blast, but falls off, and that's a really good spawn for John here.
Oh, and it spawns right back on top of ShadowVisions, yeah. And those are the kinds of spawns that ShadowVisions needs to see out this game, is just these low spawns that don't really matter much.
Really good spawn for ShadowVisions.
Yeah. He also needs to see spawns that are just right in front of him to help.
ShadowVisions gonna be able to pick up the blast. John also picks it up and uses the blast himself to try to throw ShadowVisions off, and it kind of works. And he's gonna be able to pick up all the 4 gems up here at the top. And
Oh, that's
he
another good spawn for
needs to
John.
pick up the red a little bit faster there. He has to make up a lot of ground.
Great mega pop by John here. Gets an edge hit.
ShadowVisions gets an edge of his own and goes flying up. Misses out on the entire spawn, but gets mega directly into the next spawn. It's very fortunate for ShadowVision. That should just about secure this game.
Yeah. Good fight by Jean, but ShadowVisions with the superior power-up prep and positioning, and that's really gonna be what's gonna win him this game. Notably, the red difference is what actually really brought him that game. Yeah, like I said, I suspect we're gonna see Scadium here from ShadowVisions, another map he's good at.
Yeah, he was looking at Scadium, and another one that he was practicing was Core, but we'll see what ShadowVisions opts to select, depending on how he's feeling with his gameplay today.
Yeah. I think with how much he's been complaining about he was complaining that he couldn't think straight earlier, so I'm wondering if Core might not be the play here. Scadium's probably one of the most simple, straightforward maps in the pool, whereas Core is probably one of the most complex maps. So
I feel like
would...
Scadium is definitely one where I think it's one where John could probably be a lot closer to ShadowVisions on than Core if he's really on. So
yeah,
it's interesting. We'll see what he opts to select here, though. And he's gonna go with Core.
interesting. Very not fun to spectate.
Yeah. So maybe that signals ShadowVisions isn't feeling even though he won the last game, maybe he isn't feeling the fastest and feels he could maybe drop the Scadium to John.
John, for whatever reason, bringing up Formula 1 again. Where the fuck is Core? It's an intermediate for some reason. This feels like an advanced map.
He does.
It should be an advanced. Right
Yeah,
along
there's
with Vortex effect.
Vortex also should be. Honestly, I feel like Promontory could probably go into intermediate.
Yeah, swap them too. But unfortunately, this one has blue tiles, so therefore it must be intermediate.
True.
I can't change server settings in here, I don't think.
Hmm. Yeah, Connie, what the hell?
I'm just gonna kick him. I want to kick him. I want to do it. So, interesting pick here by ShadowVisions. This is a
Ready,
map where I do
set.
feel like
Go.
it's such a weird map to pick. I think if you've been, especially if you've been struggling for form, I feel like this is not a map I would want to pick when I'm struggling for form. Maybe that might just be me.
Yeah.
Jean, interestingly enough, gonna drop all the way down instead of camping the blue. It doesn't really hurt him too bad, but
ShadowVision does get both of the yellows on that spawn, and ShadowVisions does not get the upside down gravity modifier tech, and John's gonna make it to
yeah,
the spawn
yeah.
first.
Oh,
ShadowVisions a
where is
little
ShadowVisions?
finally
Oh,
makes
there
it
he is.
to the correct gravity.
I love that we just have a map where if we're trying to watch it, we just can't
Yeah,
tell
the
where anything
blue.
is. Yeah.
And ShadowVisions gets that to himself. John actually doesn't get the blue there.
No,
ShadowVisions
and
also
ShadowVisions also
expertly
gets the
falls onto
yellow.
the
And the rest of the spawn too. Jean with a disaster there.
pretty disastrous there. And ShadowVisions with great gravity here to make it to the to this little corner spawn. Gets both yellows here as well. John definitely looking a little out of sorts on this map. That's a pretty good spawn for ShadowVisions again.
Yeah. ShadowVisions definitely in better control here of this game. It'll be interesting to see how John messes up again. I'm not really sure where he's headed there, but it might not hurt him too bad if he's quick to this spawn, which he is.
Is gonna be able to get. I think ShadowVisions maybe shared that yellow with him. I'm not quite sure,
But John does
like quicker
lose
to
out on
this
this spawn because of momentum. ShadowVisions just had better momentum to it.
ShadowVisions getting the entire spawn. John quicker to the middle. This could be good if the blue spawns, but it doesn't.
Yeah, this map just consistently turns into gambling on whether or not that blue is gonna show up, and John's gonna miss that miss out on that super speed snipe there. Does get the mega though.
Already an early 20-point lead for ShadowVisions. It's looking quite good for him.
Yeah, looking very good for him. Looking like this was probably the right choice after all. Again, this wasn't the pick that I was expecting from him in this scenario, but
Yeah, I think ShadowVision's not really wanting to gamble on a speed map, more so one on strategy and map knowledge.
yep. And those are two things. I mean, although ShadowVisions is very, very fast, I think his two best attributes end up being that map knowledge as opposed to that speed. That 20-point lead holding steady though. Jean gonna head back to the middle. If that blue spawns, it'd be nice for him, but it's not going to. He's going to try to get to this spawn. He's not gonna be able to. ShadowVisions is gonna be able to wipe up this entire spawn for himself. Fortunately for John, not a super high value map, or sorry, not a super high value spawn for a map like Core. Next spawn's going to be in the middle. Neither player's super close, but ShadowVision's able to actually do very well to get those two gems and then change gravity.
Yeah, ShadowVision's very expertly maneuvering the map here. John really struggling. Already stopped to type a little bit.
Yeah.
They have to think that this one's already going to be over in minute 15 with a 30-point lead.
On
and,
Core, yeah,
John's
I think that
mental
might be
kind of going down the drain.
Yeah, it's tough to be. It is tough to even get 30 points in a solo run in a minute on Core sometimes. So, yeah, it's gonna be real tough, especially if ShadowVision just keeps does not take his foot off the gas, which he really does not seem to be doing here.
Mm-hmm. Up center default once again, and it's got good gravity to this next spawn as well, I believe.
He had,
John does
yeah, he had to change it, but yeah, 34-point lead here with 30 seconds left to go. Mega Marvel here. And he goes for another
At that
one and
point, he's
lands
just
it.
going for another one, but ShadowVision still manages to survive after the Mega and picks up a few more of those gems in the
Which is
long
incredible
gravity, so.
considering, you know, the gravity aspect of this map. I don't know how he stayed on there. Next spawn's going to be down on the bottom tier of it here. John unable to stick the landing at first. ShadowVision's going to be able to get, I was going to say both yellows, but he messed up.
Almost a 40-point lead for ShadowVisions here.
And the blue does finally spawn.
And absolutely dominant performance on core from the ShadowVisions. John looking definitely lost on that map, and definitely the right pick. Welcome, ShadowVisions.
Hello.
Congratulations on your 3-1 win over Papa John.
Thank you. I'm gonna have to get some pizza to celebrate after this.
So I was just gonna ask, my only question was, before the match, you were practicing Galactic Islands and Scadium, but you ended up going with Galactic Islands and Core. Can I ask why that was?
I originally was going to pick Scadium second, but after John took Galactic, I realized I probably needed to pick something that's a little bit more one-sided for me.
Yeah.
I probably could have saved Core to use against some of the other matchups I have coming up, but I really did not want to go to a game 5 against Papa J here, who was playing pretty well. Had me on the ropes in the first half of Nadir and Galactic as well, so had to get the job done.
Talk to me about the Galactic Islands game, because it was your pick and it ended up being the first map that you've actually dropped this whole tournament. What do you think happened?
Yeah, it's not unusual for John to do very well in my picks, or anyone in Europe for that matter, but I think a lot of the spawns are pretty close instead of having to travel wide distances, and so that definitely benefited the ping advantage that he had. I think he also just played really well. I had a small advantage going into the same last spawn, very similar to what Icky had in his match against him. And then John was just better prepared for the last spawn. I think I probably would have won a lot of the spawns that could have come, but he in particular had a good line on that side from the construction island, and I was on the other side with the super speed, I think, which doesn't really have a good way to get up to the top of the desert island. So yeah, it was hard for me to fight back on that one, but he played great throughout the match, so definitely deserved it.
I think that was the only question I had was about Scadium versus Core. I don't know if you had any other questions, DK. Otherwise, I think I'm all good.
Just an observation I noticed, especially on Nadir and Vortex effect. You started out kind of slow, but then really started to ramp up the pace and ended up winning both of those by 20 plus points, I believe. What was the kind of like resilience and like the kind of working your way up? Talk about that maybe a little bit.
I think as a player, I just don't start very well. I can't be prepared for the first spawn with a power up and Ultra Blast because you don't start with one. And so generally I gain momentum throughout the match and tend to come back from deficits. So it's not unusual that John started pretty well in Nadir, I would say. And he's very good at that map as well, and Vortex. I will say I expected both of the picks that John was going to bring out today. So that definitely helped in terms of my prep and readiness for it.
Yeah, I did mention that in the stream that it was the exact 2 picks that you had been prepping for this whole time. So, yeah.
I'm a little surprised about Nadir. Obviously, I beat him by 1 point on that last year, and I think I've improved as a player since then.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to see the charts on it because and they didn't show, unfortunately. They didn't. The Huntbot didn't.
yeah, I'll have
pop
to look
up
into
there.
that. I don't have them either.
But yeah, it was a close match up until about like the minute 30, like maybe the minute 30, the minute mark somewhere in there, and then you just kind of took off from there, and that lead just grew exponentially from in the final couple minutes or so. But Yeah, no, all in all, great series. I'm very impressed with the fact that John actually is the first to take a map off of you at all, and to do so on a map that I think a lot of people would argue favors you pretty heavily is also very impressive. I mean, it's the same map that you smoked Frostfire on, from what I can recall, in your first um,
Yeah,
in your
logical
first series.
conclusion is that Papa J is much better than Frostfire at Galactic Islands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Disappointed that we didn't get to see the little pocket blue snipe this game, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I wanted to see another one.
Which one? Oh, yeah,
On
Yeah.
that one.
Galactic.
I've been destroying that one in practice
Yeah,
pretty
I
much
don't know.
every
He
time
he
I
can't
play.
he can't miss. It's bizarre. He does not miss that snipe. It doesn't matter what angle he's coming from, he's gonna hit it. Um, but regardless, great series. Congrats to you, ShadowVisions, for your win, and I am going to go ahead and stop the recording.